Bob Chapman, formerly with Army Intelligence and the largest financial newsletter on record until he retired. He's come back, and he also the largest gold and private silver broker. Bob Chapman, also, of course, great patriot, helped fund and finance the publishing of Done Dare Call Conspiracy with Gary Allen back in the 70s. He's been working with J. Edgar Griffin and others for more than 40 years. Good to have you here with us. I want to come back for 15 minutes and cover the latest financial developments, but in a few minutes, sir, I know you've been on hold listening, your take on the fact that they're now admitting world government, push it, but saying it's going to save us, and then Beck saying, yeah, there's some camps, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad, but then giving no more information. Bob Chapman.
Well, first of all, I think they've been exposed. These broadcasts are going all over the world. There are only a handful of people, but they're making a tremendous difference. We're getting emails from all over the world from people saying, thank you for being on the programs and enlightening us to what's going on. And we're getting a lot of foreign subscribers as well. Just recently, we've got about 10 from Russia, plus other places throughout the world.
I'm having troops come up to me on the street and say they're awake and call in, and letters. I mean, police. Go ahead.
Well, that's great. And that's the reason I mention that is that's why the conspiracy is exposing itself, because it has to. It doesn't have any choice at this point. Too many people know what they're doing now, and it's going to get greater and greater and greater, and the ignorant and the uneducated are finally going to catch on as well.
So now they're just hiding in plain view going, oh, yeah, there's a world government and FEMA camps, but let's have a discussion. Maybe we need them.
You're right about that, and I think that the propaganda that's being spewed out, this mixture of 95% truth and 5% propaganda, isn't going to work. And you've gone through it fairly well in a very short period of time, very thoroughly, especially in regard to Glenn Beck. And we discussed this a couple of weeks ago. And they just want you to think that the major media is covering this, when in fact they're really not. It's really misdirection.
But this, every historical indication shows this means they're desperate and that they're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think many people realize this. You and some others who are on the air are really drilling this thing. But I am very, very chagrined, very unhappy that very few newsletter writers have pursued this.
Stay there, Bob. Got a break. 70-second break. Third hour, only seconds away. Bob Chapman's our guest. The mainstream media everywhere is admitting world government is here, but saying it will save us. A few people like Lou Dobbs are saying it's a bad idea. He's been credibly doing it for a long time, but conservatively, I believe he's good. But CNN lets him on to have some credibility because people now know this is going on. The establishment can't ignore it any longer. So we're into a conditioning period. And the establishment's getting scared. That's why Brzezinski and all of them are on TV going, oh, the evil bankers, oh, we've got to do something. They're going to bait and switch that and shut down smaller tax havens for the general public at the retail level. So they use our anger and put it into their own operations. It's very, very sophisticated. Bob Chapman, let's get into what's happening with the economy right now. Let's break down it plunging in the last 2 days below 7,000. You had predicted that for late February, early March, I remember a few months ago. But then you've also predicted, I'm going from memory, that it'll go back up for a while and then take an even greater plunge. You've talked about it going down to 4,000, correct?
Right, and I think if we were to hold at 4,000, we would be very, very fortunate. We touched 6,700 yesterday in that area, and the news that came out today was so dreadful on employment and other things, and the market's up 127 points. And that means the United States government's in there trying to hold the market up to keep it from going lower. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a small rally here back to 7,200, which would be normal, and to test that 7,268 bottom that was set in 1994 and then again in 2002. And so over the period of time here, we'll go down into the 6,000 to 6,600 area probably in the next month or so. And it'll find some sort of a bottom there, and then it'll rally again and then go lower. But perhaps this year, but in all probability next year, and the timing on this is so hard, we're going to see 4,000. And if you want to project what happened during the last depression, and we are in a depression already, we started at the beginning of February, if you want to go back and compare it to the 1930s, and I believe we're about 5 times worse off today than we were then, I think that we're looking at a duplication of the 89% correction that took place in 1933. And if that's the case, we're going down to somewhere between 1,260 and 1,450. And that's a long, long way down.
And now the establishment
will eventually get there.
And now the establishment just has to manage the collapse, pose as our saviors, blame a few little Madoffs, their minions, while they carry out the Ponzi scheme that's meant to implode the whole world into their hands. I don't think they're going to get away with it, Bob.
I don't think so either. And I think, one of their major problems is going to be right on Wall Street for people who are not directly involved. People who work there, they have a good idea what's going on. And I talked to some of them, and they usually live out in Long Island or a little bit upstate or over in New Jersey, and they were all armed and doing the same thing that we're doing because they know what's coming.
Yeah, that's the issue. We told the truth for decades. You told it for 40-plus years as we read the globalist plans. Now it's all coming true. We did our work planting the seeds of truth. Man, this is going to be one hell of a fight, though, Bob.
I know it is, and they know if they lose, they're going to totally lose power, and in some instances via treason, they're probably going to forfeit their lives and fortunes.
But they'll stage nuke attacks, they'll stage fake terror attacks. Rand Corporation says they're getting ready to stage World War III to cover this up. I mean, we got to realize we're dealing with vicious killers here.
That's right. They are evil, evil people, and they are going to have another war, and I've been talking about that on this program for some time.
Bob, stay there. Let's talk more about the economy and how fast the deepening depression is accelerating and how bad it's going to get with Bob Chapman. Then scheduled the Obama deception drops at PrisonPlanet.tv and super high quality, an information warfare weapon. Who the bankers are, how they control things, how Obama's their puppet, how Bush was their puppet, how it's seamless integration for administration to administration, setting up their world government, their carbon taxes, total control, all of his lies, what his real agenda is, the FEMA camps, the forced conscription, the states revolting. The film is done. The film's been sent off to be mass-produced. We'll probably have it in the next 7 days and start packaging them up to ship out on the 15th. Get your orders in at Infowars.com right now or call toll-free 888-253-3139. They're betting that he can neutralize the left and the general public to stand down while they launch their New World Order so they can stage their terror attacks and start huge wars. They're doing it all. They're moving ahead. If we expose their agenda now, and believe me, these films have power. If you spread it out to everybody, make copies of the DVD, download it from PrisonPlanet.tv, spread it out to everybody. If you go crazy with this, it will have a big effect. Believe me, we have more power than a lot of you actually realize and know. Bob Chapman, the international forecaster, if people just realize they can take action and defeat this thing, we can do it. But really, folks need to understand that, don't they?
They certainly do. And your program goes a long way toward accomplishing that. And please, when you get these tapes, make copies. Send them all over the place, all over the world. Let people know what's going on. It's just like with my publication. I tell people who are subscribers, if you want to send it to other people, do it. Some of them will subscribe because they want to get their own copy, but that's not what the mission is. The mission is to get the story out, to make people understand who the real enemy is.
Absolutely, Bob. When I say this, I'm not putting a good face on it. It's the truth. The military's waking up. More contributions than Ron Paul than to any other candidate, including the Democrat. Kept saying just Republican. No, it's all candidates. They know. The police are waking up. If people become aware of stage terror, stage financial collapse, and learn this is a bunch of Madoff criminals running things, and he was the founder of the NASDAQ, and that all these banks are involved in this by design, and they learn how the IMF and World Bank bankrupt countries like Argentina, Iceland, and others, and now doing it here in England and Europe by design, we can defeat these people. I mean, bottom line, folks, we've got to tell the truth. We've got to get the story out there because the enemy is so obviously criminal. If we just tell the truth, they're going to be defeated.
And I think what to go along with this, Alex, is the fact that we have projected on your program that the economy is going to do exactly what it has done over the past 5 years, gone into the sewer. And your program and my publication and a handful of others very few, unfortunately, have projected this. And we've been right all along. So, ladies and gentlemen, the audience, please listen, because we get the handle on this. We know what we're talking about. We know that where this is going. You've got to listen and you've got to act, because when unemployment continues to expand, the U6 is really about 15.5% right now. That's a government figure. That's intermediate unemployment, and not to go into detail on it. And that'll be over 22% this year. And next year, it'll go higher. And as more and more people become discontented, all this information, particularly the tapes that you have, they will be put into fertile hands, because people will start listening and saying to themselves, who did this to me? And we're going to tell them who and how to change things.